All right, we're on another episode with the right track with Brad, and today we have Carley Maskos. We are both on the cross country and track team, but you are graduating soon.
Yes.
How do you feel about that? Because I know everyone says it goes by really fast.
It does.
And I'm like a little over halfway, so for me, I can kind of understand like, oh man, I'm almost done with college, but you're actually here, about 2 or 3 weeks left. I think you just said you're done with all your classes.
Yes.
How does it like feel? Like, do you actually like? Can you believe it, or what are you thinking right now?
I still.
Oh, the mics.
Oh,
Can't
mics.
forget the microphones that
Got my
aren't
mic.
plugged into anything. It makes it feel so much more real.
No, so I'm ready. I'm ready to graduate. I'm ready to be done. It is a little surreal thinking I have literally 2 weeks. Literally just last week I was like, oh my gosh, I already have 3 weeks, and now I'm on the second week and like what? Like it does. It goes by really fast. Yeah. I'm already, for me, what's making it even more real is I've been going back home, getting stuff ready for that, like my job and all that when I graduate here, and then getting my apartment there and all that. Like it's becoming so surreal now, and it's a little scary.
Mm-hmm. And you've gone through a lot of like ups and downs during just in general with like cross country and just through school.
Mm-hmm.
But like looking back as a whole, what would you say is the best thing you've learned through all those like difficulties? You don't have to get into all of that if you don't want to, but like what's the biggest thing that you've learned like looking back, or something you might change?
Honestly, like a lot of people say like I wish like the bad moments didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like that made me stronger, a lot stronger, especially from the past 4 years, because I've had a lot happen within my 4 years of college. And so I'm kind of glad that kind of stuff happened, because like I said, it did help me make me stronger. And I really wouldn't say there's much that I would change. I mean, yes, there's a lot of stuff that happened, but I'm overall happy with where I'm at now.
That's good. That's good if you can look back and be like, yeah, I don't want to change anything about it.
I was like, I didn't have a lot of friends. I mean, like, I had the team, but really didn't do much, and kind of kept to myself. And I guess that I wish I could change a little bit more, but I've always been like that. I've always been kind of an introvert, believe it or not.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know about that. You're
believe it or
easy
not,
to talk to.
I usually it's just me, and that's about it.
Yeah, I see. You and Gus.
Me and Gus, yes.
The best dog. The best dog.
I don't know. He's a pain.
And then I'm always trying to think about, like, for me, when I look back at all the times of when I was doing school, like, I think everyone has had this thought, like, oh, this is a waste of time, what am I doing? Like, through high school and junior high, people think it could be doing something else, at least for, like, public school people, I would guess. What's something you would want to like wish was different with the school system? Because for me, I think again a lot of people have had these thoughts of like how can this be better, or how can it be formatted better?
Yeah.
I saw this one video that someone made about how they were comparing all these things, how they looked originally when they were invented to how they look nowadays in modern times, from like cars to I can't really think of anything else, but there's just like a bunch of things that have been invented, how different they look from the original to now. And if you look at how a classroom looks from the first time. No, it's the same.
Really?
Yeah, so I want to hear what you're going to say about that, because I was going to say I feel like it's the same where it's just the one person is kind of teaching everyone, and there hasn't been much change in that, and I feel like there are different ways that you can learn.
Yeah, that is true. You've got your main teacher teaching a whole class, but as far as distribution, like for me, like I work after school care, and I work like I'm with kids constantly, and so I see kind of how it all's changed, and especially from COVID, it's all online based now. And so like, you know how when we would have a snow day, we would have a snow day. You know, we'd be off of school. We wouldn't have classwork they'd give us. Now they have like these whole packets, like NTI packets full of classwork that they have to do on their snow day or something. So that's a little bit odd. And then like, or they'll still have class, but it's on Zoom. Like, it's just one of those things where it wasn't like that back then, you know.
Yeah,
We
I
didn't
feel
have
that.
to do all that. We didn't have to do all that schoolwork and all of that. And like some of it, like they don't even care if you do it, which doesn't make sense. Or it's not assigned. They just have it in this packet. It's just it's a little odd. But and then don't even get me started on this. Elementary school here in Bowling Green, at least. Actually, I think back in Lexington it's like that also. And most elementary schools, they don't have homework anymore.
Just not at all.
They don't do
Like
homework.
graded homework, or they're not given anything.
They
to
don't
do?
give them homework, so they do stuff in class, and that's it. Or they do like lesson or like writing stuff. They'll do it in class. Reading, it's in class. They don't have any homework whatsoever in elementary schools.
I like.
I feel
I don't think I like that.
no. What I like is I think, or what I think is wrong is like it teaches them time management skills. If you look at how kids are nowadays, like they just get everything handed to them, and I hate saying that, but that's kind of like working with my kids. Like they all are just love them to death, but they are so spoiled and everything, and like kind of get everything, like I said, handed to them. And so I think with them not having homework, like they don't know proper time management, like they don't know any of that.
Yeah, but if you're a little kid, like time management isn't really that important at that time.
It isn't, but still, I don't know. I get like kindergarten and all that, but like going up to like your second to fifth grade, it's like really, and then and then also here, I don't know if you all, when you were in sixth grade, you went straight to middle school, correct?
Yeah, sixth grade to eighth grade was like junior high.
They have some of the elementary school programs here have sixth grade at their elementary school.
I've heard of that though.
But
I've heard of that.
I don't know. There's just some things that are a little different than how it used to be.
Wait, I want to make sure that it's recording because I hit the button and I'm not sure. You know how it turns red like when you click it. I really want to make sure because that'd be so sad if it wasn't. All right, perfect. That's like my biggest fear, like clicking it, having it not work. Yeah, and kind of going back to just like how it's different with like each kind of section of school, elementary, junior high, high school, college. Going back to time management, I think that time management, just like personally, is way more important starting in high school. But I don't know, maybe it does start in junior high. Maybe it does start in junior high, but when in elementary school, it's like you're not even thinking about time. You're just playing. You're just being with kids.
And I get that. Like I said, like kindergarten, first, second, third. Like I get that, but I feel like once you're in fourth grade, because that's when you get introduced to social studies and you get introduced to more different subjects. I feel like at that point in time, that's when you really got to start learning. Okay, like I've got this. You know, that's when you truly start getting into kind of sports if you do, or clubs or something. So that's why I think like homework and all that like kind of teaches you. Okay, I've got to separate this time from this time. You know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can't agree with that.
Yeah.
Do you think we can just go based on college now? Do you think like how it was set up, like the way the classes are, you know, kind of every other day, the way that's formatted with the material and content, do you think that's the best way that you could have learned?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like people say like, oh, like when you're in high school, like this is how they do things in college, or like when you're in middle school getting ready to go to high school, this is how they do things in high school.
That same thing with, sorry to interrupt, that's the same thing with like running too. Like in high school, you hear like, oh, well in college it's not going to be like that if you go to that for running or whatever sport it is.
Honestly, like when people have said like, you're not going to be prepared, personally, I feel like I've been prepared. Like I've never struggled with school. I've never struggled with more coursework or whatever. I will say, going into college though, like, I mean, because a lot of your classes in college are all your, prereqs and all that. So like your English and all that, like that's majority of your classes versus your major classes. So I guess stuff in middle and high school, it does kind of help you with that because that's what you're basically learning. Now, do I think that's all we should be learning? No. I think there should be classes about how to manage money and budget and stuff like that, get you prepared for the real world.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people who struggle with that, You have school smarts, you got book smarts, you've got street smarts. I feel like when you come out of high school and everything, now, not all people, but like you only gain that book smart kind of thing, because it's just learning that stuff. You don't learn anything about taxes, you don't learn anything about checking, like any of that.
Yeah.
And so I feel like there should be stuff along with that. Yeah.
That makes sense. Because I would always think of, like, oh, when am I going to use this?
Yeah,
That's just
exactly.
a classic thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not fully sold on that anymore because when I started telling, like I talked to my dad about that, like I'm not gonna use this stuff. When am I gonna use like these math equations other than in a school setting?
Yeah.
Or whatever the topic I was learning. And he was kind of saying how, like, it's not so much what you're learning, it's like what you're being put through is like what you're gonna, is like where you're growing. Like the fact that you're doing this, something that you don't want to do, it's kind of like discipline, and then you're still learning, like you're still interacting with your brain and how to work to memorize and then apply something, and so you're still working like parts of the brain.
Yeah.
Whether it's something I want to learn or not, you're still kind of working that. But
and that makes sense.
But yeah, that can go a lot of different ways.
Yeah. Now that makes a lot of sense. Kind of stimulating yourself and whatnot.
Yeah. And I'm surprised that you said that school wasn't like, you're saying it wasn't really hard at all for college?
It was not, no.
Because being an athlete, like that's an extra thing you kind of have to do.
So if we look at my first 2 years when I was truly competing, I honestly wasn't struggling. I will say my first semester ever I was, but that's just because of the workload you have. You've got weights, practice, study hall, on top of normal classes, you've got to eat. Like, I remember that was stressful for me for the first couple of weeks, but then after a while I got adjusted really easily. And that's one thing about me is, actually I'm a creature of habit, so it's hard for me to adjust, but it really wasn't that hard. And I think it's because I do have good time management skills. Like I'm able to spread things out. Now going into the second year, when COVID hit, I remember I still had I think my first semester I had all A's. My first year I had all A's. I think I had 1B, if anything. And then my second year coming back, I remember I got my first C, but that's because we went online, and I can't learn like that.
That's so hard.
I'm not like that, and so that's the only thing. But otherwise, I think the reason why it wasn't so hard for me is because, like we were talking earlier, I like to stay busy. So with me being busy kind of kept me on track.
Okay, yeah.
So I don't know. That's how I work. That's how my mind is, which may be a lot for some other people. But
yeah. Okay. Do you like running in general more, or did you like competing? Like, do you think competing is more fun than just running, or like do you even really like running? Because I know a lot of people like racing, but not training or running.
I do like running. I do. I've got my leash for Gus. Me and him will go on our little runs here and there.
Oh, you run with him?
Yes.
That's so cool.
Yes. Even though he freaking will poop out after a mile.
Oh.
And I'm like, great, thanks, man. I'll have to drag him, and it's the leash where it it's a bungee, so I'm dragging him, pulling extra weight. I'm
Really?
This is great. No, I do like running. I think I'm definitely gonna have to build my love back up for it after what's gone on and whatnot, because that kind of did push me out of my love for it and all that. And so I will say I did love competing a lot more. That actually gave me a strive to run better and everything because of competing and having that pressure pressure.
I see.
Having that pressure on me. And so I did like competing, and like I said, I do like running. I just have to build my love back up for it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you remember what we were talking about before we started? We were standing over there and we're like, oh, that's a really good thing we should talk about before we start. I don't remember. I think it was staying busy.
Oh,
I remember it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you said the next 2 weeks 2 or 3 weeks you don't really have anything to do and you hate it because you like to be busy, like you just said. And for me, I love having like the open weeks, or like if I even have one, to just work on anything like of a skill I'm trying to learn, or more time to like read the Bible, or meeting with people, or like doing like podcasts, kind of like this. I like that because I kind of get to pick out my whole day and how I want my day to look like, and I can be as efficient as I want to be, and as productive as I can be, while having it still be fun. But in a normal week when I'm during school and practice, there's things that you can't move throughout the day, like classes at this time, that is like you cannot move anything. Practice at this time, you can't move that. Maybe you already committed to like meeting with someone or going to an event, now that's in the way, and then you have to build around the things that you still want to do throughout the day, or maybe doing homework. And that's just, everyone kind of has that, where there's things that you could do throughout a whole day if it was open, but when you have those things that are in the schedule, it's harder. But for me, when I have the open time, it's like, oh sweet, I get to do all these things for self-development and meeting other people and just kind of growing in myself or whatever it is. And I like that because I always have something I could be doing. So I don't really get bored if I'm like by myself in a room for a whole day, because I have things like to do or learn, and I feel more like progressive doing that. But I want to hear kind of like why you don't like those times, because for me, I feel like I have a lot of things I could be doing.
I think for me, because I am close to graduating, and so it's kind of one of those things where I'm just ready to start life, and so that's why I don't like having that free time, because I'm like, I could be working, I could be doing this, you know.
Okay.
I think that's my thing, is now like compared to 2 years ago when running, having friends, hanging out, socializing, heck, even living in the house last year, you know, I would have loved to have free time, you know, to spend with the girls or do something like that. But now it's just kind of one of those things. I'm at that point in life where I'm just ready to get a start on things. So when I have that time, it's like I could be working, I could be doing this right now, you know, but I can't because I'm still in college, you know, and that's the thing. So my dad and I were talking about this the other day, because he's asking me, he's like, how's class going and everything? I'm like, yeah, I'm basically done. I was like, my professor canceled lab for the rest of the week, or for the rest of the year. We meet on Wednesdays. Now I don't have class on Wednesdays. I have class Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. I said, so I just kind of am here, and I just have work. I'm like, there's nothing. I was like, I don't hang out with a lot of people. I kind of, like I said, I'm to myself, but so that's kind of out of the way. But like, I mean, I try to take Gus out and whatnot, but still, even then, it's just like, I think to myself, I could be working. Like, I want to go ahead and start this, you know.
Working like for money, or because you just like doing it? Like,
yes.
Is that the goal?
Yes.
Like,
so like, I wish honestly, if my job right now, like it is 3 hours, which was optimal for, you know, taking classes and doing all that. But now, like, I wish it was an all day thing. Like, we had all day programs when they'd be out of school, and like I'd work as much as I could doing that. And you know, I just want to work and just kind of be done with all this.
And so your major was exercise science.
So I am graduating with an exercise science degree. I was going to go into athletic training though.
That's where you changed. Okay.
I was going to do that. I was going to go into athletic training, but then I found out like within a year and a half left that I had to take all these physics classes and biology classes as prereqs for my master's in athletic training. And once again, I'm at that point where I'm like, no, I just want to be done. And after having the past, 4 years, really we'll say 3, after the past 3 years of running and having trainers, like new trainers come in each year, I've discussed with them, like, so what are your thoughts on athletic training? You know, my thing is also another reason why I kind of am veering away from it is I want to have a family and all that, and with athletic training, you're busy.
There all the time, and it's not that much money either.
No, and so like I was thinking originally I wanted to do high school athletic training, so I would do during the day I'd do a PT technician, and then I'd go and do my athletic training. But then, like I said, you've got no time, you know. And so I want to have a family. I want to be able to develop and work on that. And you also really can't develop and work on a relationship when you're at work all the time, you know. We've got some of our trainers here, like we have Dustin, our baseball one. He's in a healthy marriage, like, but he was in that way before he started athletic training. So hence, like, their family. And, like, you've got Jess, that's the head football coach. Like, she just had a baby recently, but, like, they've been used to it, you know. So that's kind of why I'm switching out of it. I feel like with physical education, I can still kind of implement some things like that. I am also coaching cross country next year. My old high school. Yes.
Your old high school.
My old high school. Yes, my coach asked me. I forgot about that.
So in Lexington, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, back in my old high school. So I'll be coaching.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Like an assistant, kind of.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'll be helping out with workouts. I'll probably help in pace and whatnot.
Just the girls team, or is it
just
the whole team?
It'd be both, because that's how we kind of do. Everyone does the same workout.
Yeah.
It's different intensities though.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of be there, take times, do whatnot. But so with my whole athletic training and like my exercise science degree, I can implement some of the things I learned from there into coaching.
Right.
So, and same with physical education. So, so the degree, it's not useless. It helps.
It'll help.
If I was going into something like business, then no. But I'm still sticking around the whole exercise science stuff. So.
Yeah, and I've always been interested in like exercise science and the body, and that's why that was my major for the first year. But that was like a lot more than I was expecting in terms of like learning the anatomy of everything. I wasn't really willing to learn all the super intricate things. I was kind of more of like the broad spectrum of like, okay, well, if you do this to your body, this is gonna happen.
Well, and that's just the first year, basically, like the
it
first year to
stuff.
2.
Yeah.
After that, like you do, like my class right now, my biomechanics. It's what we're learning right now. I'm trying to think of what we just went over. Kind of like if you throw a baseball, like how does the air or the wind, like wind resistance affect that, or like when you're running, like how you're striding and all that. Like it's interesting.
Yeah.
It's just you got to get past all the nitty gritty stuff.
Yeah. And then even going into like realizing what I could do afterward with it, I didn't want to. I didn't think I wanted to do anything for a physical trainer, but I'm still interested in the body, and that's why I'm kind of like in psychology right now and just learning about that. But yeah, exercise science is so interesting, especially like because of running was why like I picked that originally. There's just a lot of things you can go with it, and like just with working out in general, like that's something you're going to kind of be doing your whole life, like exercising and taking care of your body.
Yep.
So it's very important, whether it's competitive or just like staying fit in general. It's important to know these things for exercise. So it feels a little bit more useful than say like another subject that is just kind of more like, well, it'll benefit the world, but it might not. Like, yeah, I don't know. When I think of quality of life, I think this is so much more in depth for that as opposed to another major. Do you kind of agree with that?
Yeah.
That's just kind of my thoughts. But yeah. Do you feel like you're an adult right now?
I love that. Do you feel like you're an adult?
Do you feel like you're there? Because you're obviously age-wise you're there, but you know it's actually starting. And I know I keep kind of bringing that up, but like it's actually starting.
It is scary.
I think it's crazy because I don't really have conversations like this with people when they're just about to graduate, because coming in I don't know
a lot of people.
I don't know like the older people are graduating.
It's scary. It is. It really is. I feel like I'll feel more like an adult when I move back home and I'm not living in my parents' home.
Okay.
I feel like I still have that kind of connection where, okay, yeah, I live on my own here, but when I go home,
still dependent.
Yeah, you know. So I think once I truly am like living on my own, like back in Lexington, like I have my own true place, like my own like my true job, you know, I feel like that's when it's gonna really, really hit. But
do you care where you go in the United States?
I really did not want to move back to Lexington. I did not want to, but I had a way to get in the school system from family and whatnot. So that was kind of a big help. My goal is I want to move to Tennessee. I love the area of Sparta. Have you ever heard of it?
No.
Oh,
Where is it?
Beautiful. Honestly, it's over. Okay, it's in between Knoxville and Nashville.
So the eastern.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I love Sparta. It's just open land. It's beautiful over there. And so my grandfather, he lives over there. They've got a house over there. And so
Is it by the mountains?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I love that. You know, like I
Yeah.
said, it may not seem like I'm very introverted and whatnot, but I do like to have my own time and whatnot.
Yes,
So I would like that, not being around a bunch of people.
Yeah.
So.
And like these next 2 or 3 weeks that you have, you're gonna be working like pretty much right after that, right?
Yes. Literally, I have graduation May 5th. May 6th, I'm moving out of my apartment, going straight back to Lexington. That following Monday, I'm working.
Wow.
So I don't get a break. So I will be working.
But this is your time to enjoy the break. So I'm
I
surprised
know,
you're not excited for this. Like this is your last time to just kind of like chill out.
It'd be different if I had people to share that with, but I don't. You know, I've got my coworkers. I will say I've actually been hanging out with them a lot, and they've kind of made this past year a lot better for me.
Yeah.
But I think that's why.
What about back home? You have like close friends back home?
Not really.
Yeah.
Everyone a lot of people in high school went to UK, so they're all still really close, which I was the one loner that kind of ventured off, you know, and did my own thing. So I don't really hang out with that many people back home.
Yeah, and that's what's hard about just like getting older. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just, you know, like you can't stay in touch with everybody that you were like once close with. Especially like in high school, you have so many people that you know.
Yep.
And then when you do go off to college, you know, you've been here for like 4 years. It's like it's hard to maintain all relationships.
Yeah.
And keeping in touch with everyone. So that like doesn't help. But yeah, like even like for me, like when I go back home, there's only like a few people that you're really like close with, you know.
Yeah. People
that you stayed in touch with and who you want to stay in touch with. And there's other people like you still hope like for the best for them.
Yeah.
But it's just you're just not that close to them, and it just happens. That's just how like relationships go.
I'm like I've got one really close friend back home, and I've been the past couple of times we just got back together. He got into welding, so he travels all over the U.S. like welding.
I heard that pays well actually.
Yeah.
Like a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's like a lineman also. Like linemen get paid a lot. I know a couple people going into that, but. No, and so I've been hanging out with him, and then he's kind of like me. He doesn't hang out with a lot of people from high school either, you know? It's just, I think with us, because we both have ventured off, I think everyone back home, or at least from our high school, is still kind of stuck, you know?
Yeah.
And still
Just
involved
where they
with just
are.
them, yeah. And so when we go back home, we hang out. I hung out one time with his welder friends, which, let me tell you, that group of people, they're interesting.
They're interesting.
They're interesting. I mean, a good interesting.
Yeah,
but yeah. So, and then I hang out with my brother. That's one person that I actually do whenever I go back to Lexington. I do look forward to being with him a lot.
Younger brother.
Yes, he's 6 years younger than me, and so he's a sophomore in high school. Yeah, he'll be a junior. He actually gets his license in June.
Oh man.
So
he's gonna be driving around.
Yes. Hey, at least I want to.
Do you want him to drive you around? Like that's kind of how my sisters were when I got my license. Like, yeah, you can drive me around. I'm like, I want to be driving you around. Like, no, I get my license. I drive myself.
Yeah, I drive Trevor everywhere when I go home. Man, he's big into the gym now. So he used to be this puny little thing. Now he's all about the gym and all that, like the deadlifts, and he's freaking huge. But still, it's like. So I have to drive him to the gym. I gotta drive him to practice. If he wants to hang out with friends, I'm the one that does it. Yeah. And so him driving, I'm ready for that. You know,
passing the torch.
Yes, literally. But in July we're going to visit our grandmother in Florida, and so.
Where in Florida?
Inglewood. So it's close. It's about 40 minutes south of Siesta Key. That's what I always say.
So it's in like the very bottom?
Yeah.
You said by the Keys?
By Siesta Key?
I don't know. I feel like I know a lot of places in Florida, but I don't know.
It's by Sparta also. Sparta, wait. Not Sparta.
The places I know are Pensacola.
Yeah,
like,
it's not the Florida. It's not the more known town. Do you know who Damien Duncan is? The YouTuber?
Yes, yeah, I've heard him. Yeah.
That's where he lives, is Inglewood.
So is this by like Tampa or Orlando or is it Miami? I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter for the conversation.
I don't know. I really couldn't tell you. But we're driving down there in July, and we're driving because I have Gus. Perks of having a dog.
Yeah,
Can't fly anywhere, and I've got to take him everywhere with me. But we're driving, so since he'll be able to drive, we can split the ride. I said, perfect. So.
I wish I could like have a pet, but I don't like. I feel like it's so hard to keep a pet here.
It is.
And again, like you're leaving soon, so it's gonna be like easier to handle that. But like being a student and having a pet, I feel like I don't know. I feel like I would either be really good or really bad at like, having like a pet. You know.
You could have a goldfish. Do you think you could even take care of
No, I could, but it's fun if you have a cat or a dog.
Yeah,
you know, like those are the two main pets you think about.
See, it's really funny because I always like coming into school, I'd be like, so stupid. Like college students shouldn't have like animals.
Yeah.
I've always thought that, but since last year, because I had a lot going on. When I got him, like he honestly helped a lot. Yeah, it's tough. And there are times like I feel bad, like he's in the apartment like right now, and it's like he could be outside, but it is also hot out, so he's fine. But like even Coach Tumbly, like because Coach Tumbly's met Gus and everything. Oh, Coach Beck loves Gus, by the way. It is so funny whenever he sees Gus, or like when we were at the track meet, he was like, "Where's Gus at?" I said, "He's at the apartment right now." Well, bring him here. I'll watch him.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
here.
oh my gosh. But Coach Tumbly's like even said it. He's like, I can tell like that he's like keeping you on your toes and like keeping you involved and keeping you happy and everything. So it does help. I think if college students get a pet, it's got to be for the right reasons, not just I just want a dog, you know.
Yeah.
And then not really take care of it.
And kind of going back to like the younger siblings, like it's cool that you get to actually see them grow up.
Yeah.
Like I wish I had younger siblings or even like a brother because I only have 2 older sisters, but being the youngest is fun, you know. But
the baby.
Yeah, the baby.
Yeah, we despise babies.
No, we the youngest love being the youngest. But I think it'd be really fun because you could take on like an authoritative figure for them and be someone to look up to. I think that'd be so fun to have for like a younger sibling. Do you feel like that's how you were with Trevor?
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's a 6-year.
It is,
gap,
and
so that's pretty big.
And that's the difference. Yeah, I think now when we were in, because my parents are divorced, so it was my freshman year of college is when they split. So growing up back in Lexington, we were all in the same household. Me and him really didn't get along that well. We really didn't, we had our moments where we were fine and everything, and then we just kind of didn't really like each other. And then once they split up,
weren't close or didn't like each other.
We weren't close. That's
okay.
Yeah, no. Well, I say we didn't like each other. No, we just weren't close.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, like,
yeah, we fought and everything. What are you?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Huh. But once my parents split, I think that brought us closer, and so he's definitely looked up to me, in as far as the aspects of how I've handled things and how I've gone about things, and so he's kind of seen that, and especially with me running and things that I've had to overcome in college, he's also seen that and seen what I've gone through, and so that kind of I think he looks up to that, you know, and how I've taken care of my mental health and everything, like he does. Like he's even said it before, like I'm proud, and so it's like one of those things. Like I think he does look up to me, like that kind of stuff.
Like he recognizes.
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I think it'd be so fun to just have, and I think it's always easy to say. That you'd want to see it different, just for the sake of seeing it differently. and kind of like the grass is always greener sort of thing, where
Yes.
you think it's gonna be better, but like you don't know. But it would be so interesting to see if I had like an older brother or like a younger sister or something.
Yeah, that's like me if I had a sister.
Yeah, like you just don't know. You don't know what it'd be like. I always think about that, how different it'd be, or like if my parents were divorced and at what time. Like I wonder, and it makes me like grateful for like the family I have, but also just like I wonder how different of a person I'd be, or like.
Oh, I think the same thing. That's the exact same thing with all that. You know, especially with parents being divorced or all that. I completely agree with that.
And just kind of wrapping up, like what is like your favorite like memory, or what are you gonna miss the most? I didn't want to make this like a whole like goodbye like send off.
Goodbye, Carly.
But I'm just curious.
Adios. Let's see. Favorite memory. Okay. One memory that really, really, truly sticks out to me was, and it's not like with friends or anything. It's to do with running. It was 2 years ago. It was my sophomore year. We competed at South Carolina.
Okay.
Coach had put me in the 5K, and then he had put me in the 1500. And let me tell you, he knew that I hated the 1500 because I got short little legs.
Which
he
coach
knows
is this?
Lecomte.
This is Lecomte?
Yes.
Okay.
He knows that I hated the 15. I did not like doing sprints. I did not like doing any of that. Like, heck, our 200s, I'd always be the last girl to finish. And it's not because, like, it's just, I can't do it. But distance-wise, like, I'm good with that stuff. So I'll never forget, that meet was just, like, good. Like, me and Maddie were rooming together. We were all joking around. I had Lucy and Rory and all of them. We're all just joking around. Next morning, like, I can't really see. And so I, like, because I had my contacts and I just can't really see really well. So I was like, okay, whatever. Ran my race. Maddie's also complaining that her eyes are hurting and whatnot. So I'm like, what? We found out that we had worn each other's contacts. So she wore my contacts and I wore her contacts during our races.
During the
races, during the whole day.
Yeah, because you don't wear contacts at night.
No.
And I've never had the contacts.
Yeah, so the next morning, so the morning of the race, because we roomed together, I put in her contacts, she put in mine. And so...
Oh my God, that's so crazy.
But what's the best thing is we PR'd in, like, so the 5K, so I got first in my heat, which was a big deal. And, like, that was Coach Chumley, you know how he does at the end of the day on the bus, he'll be like, his mentions of so-and-so did good, so-and-so. Yeah. He said my name because I did really good in the 5K. Like I said, I got first for the heat, and it was a good time. I was supposed to break 19. I was 19:01, and Coach Lecomte told me if I break 19, I don't have to run the 15.
Oh.
He said, "Great job." He's like, "You're still gonna run the 15." I was like, "Are you kidding me?" But anyway, but besides that, me and Maddie, we both wore each other's contacts, and those were the best races we had. Now, I mean, I PR'd after that, but still.
So both of you guys had good races.
Yes, that day.
So, and are the contacts in the same case? Is that why they're mixed up? Or?
They look the exact same.
That's so wild. That's such a fun story, but like I'd be so nervous, like why I can't see that well.
I was like freaking out. I'm like, oh my gosh, like my eyes are all blurry. I didn't bring extra contacts. I'm like, I'm gonna have to run in my glasses. I'm like, I can't run in my glasses. Oh yeah, I think I did run in her contacts. Yeah, because I was like, I think I took them out, but I didn't. I ran in her contacts.
So she ran with them also.
Yes. Wow. Yes, because we were like at that point, she saw me PR my T race. She's like, you know what? I'm gonna wear your contacts and let's see how this goes. And then she PR'd. So you're like, okay.
That's so funny. Wow.
Yeah.
Because I've never had glasses, never had anything like that. So it's so.
I hate it.
I feel like I would like I guess I take it for granted a few times. Or a lot. A few times.
You can see clearly. How dare you? Shame on you.
Yeah, like it's so nice. I don't want to lose like my nice vision, but yeah, being able to see and not have to do anything with it is nice.
Yeah.
But like I'll do like a retainer at night for my teeth to keep them in place. That's annoying wearing them at night.
See, I haven't worn mine in a good amount of time.
I've committed to it. I haven't like I've forgotten times, but I don't think I've never missed like 2 days in a row. I've been pretty consistent with having it. But everyone who I hear, they always they do it for a little bit and then they stop.
Yep.
And Yeah, I mean,
My bottom teeth have shifted maybe just a little bit.
and they shift back to where they were originally. Is that not right? Like slowly they kind of do, depending how bad they are. Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know. I've always wanted to remember because I don't want them to like shift around.
Oh, I know.
But
I still get told I have a pretty smile. So I don't.
Yeah,
so it doesn't phase me.
Yeah.
I was like, I know that my couple of teeth have shifted, but
Mm-hmm.
not a lot of people know. So it's like, okay.
I think a lot of people care almost too much about like their teeth.
Yes.
Especially when people have nice teeth and they're like, oh, my teeth are so messed up. I'm like, dude, they're not messed up, you know?
Okay.
It's kind of like no one cares that much.
I have one question for you. Because
Let's do
talking
it.
about teeth.
Let's do it.
So, what is the one thing you look at in a person, like physical attributes? What is one thing you look for in a person, like in a girl? Like, I look at teeth. That's the first thing I look at is teeth.
Okay.
Nothing else. I don't know why. It's just teeth. I look at teeth instantly, and I notice instantly. Okay, you have a gap. Like, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to talk to them, but like it's just that's something I notice. What's one thing you notice?
I think the first thing I notice is definitely like eyes.
Eyes.
Which sounds like a basic answer, but it is like how like that's just what I notice. But I'd say teeth is like the next thing because if you see someone, you probably not be able to see their teeth that much.
Yeah.
But I would say it's eyes, and then if you're talking to them, you notice their teeth. I think that's like the thing that I notice right away for sure. I always notice that.
I was just curious because we were talking about teeth. I'm like, that's one thing I look at is teeth. So
yeah. But yeah, is there anything else you wanted to bring up or talk about?
No.
Well, this was the right track with Brad. This is Carley Maskos. It was so fun that you got to come on right before you leave.
I know. I'm glad we managed to get some time out of it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And now you're gonna be bored the next 2 weeks. Just you and Gus, you and your dog Gus, just hanging out.
I got the pool. Like I said, I just gotta put my sunscreen on.
The pool is nice. Yeah, you said you got burned. Like
oh, it's bad.
Yeah, you know when you push in, it's white. Like
and I can feel it just radiating.
Yeah. The worst is when you're like showering and you just like, oh man, this hurts. But yeah, that's cool. So glad you got to come on and hang out for a bit. So
thank you for having me.
Gotta do the double thumbs up.
Double thumbs up.
That's your favorite thing.
I love my double thumbs up.
But yeah, that's all. So
awesome.
Sick.